What's up, guys? We're back
Okay.
with All Ball Talk. We got a special guest and an interview with former Wisconsin Badger fullback John Chenal. John, how are you doing?
Good. Thank you so much for having me.
Yep. So I just got a few questions right here. So I'm gonna start with the first one. So I just want to know, like, in your Badger career, like, what was your favorite moment or like specific game that you played in?
Um, I would have to say the Michigan games for sure. Were big for me.
Yeah,
Not only kicking their butt, not only that part of it, but just being able to get in the end zone for my first time.
yeah,
And I think I scored a touchdown the other games we played them in too. And so for me that was special. Being a fullback. And it was really nice. I know Jonathan Taylor appreciated running the ball 80 yards downfield and then me
yeah,
running in from the 1 yard line.
yeah,
But those were very memorable. You could talk about the Rose Bowl where we lost by a point, which was still memorable for me. It's one of those games that's just really exciting.
yeah. That's kind of like piggybacking off that, but like I just want to know, like, obviously the Big Ten is like, super. There's a really big fan bases, and I wanted to know, like, what was the hardest environment that you ever had to play in? Would it be like the Michigan game, the Big House?
Yeah, I mean there's over 100,000 people there. It was super loud, but the stadium was kind of with the big house. You know how the
Uh,
stadiums are bowls. This one was like way. The angle was not as steep, so the sound wasn't quite as loud.
yeah,
As far as like overall loudness, I'd have you could say Nebraska. You could say Nebraska is probably it's between Nebraska and Iowa for
yeah,
the loudest games for sure. Um, those guys really know how to yell, and I don't remember if it's I think it's Iowa where they put the bleachers where everyone's sitting, like 10 feet away from us, so we can hear every single word they're saying when we're on the
yeah,
sidelines.
uh,
Um, that puts a new spin on it, so pretty fun.
yeah. That's those are also obviously two also rivalry games. Well, not Nebraska not anymore, but that's definitely huge. And then also like who was like the best player like you've ever had to play against? Was there ever a player that you played against that you were like holy crap, like this dude just insanely good?
Um, I'd say Chase Young was one of those guys.
Chase Young.
Um, yeah, edge for Ohio State. So he was a guy. He's what you call a game wrecker. So
Mm,
we'd work up the whole week in film, and we'd meet with the O line, and we're gonna get a chip block on the edge here. We're gonna dedicate two guys to him here. He's an absolute animal. Especially in college.
yeah.
But he was an absolute game wrecker, and so we had to dedicate a whole game to him. And I think he still had two sacks and a forced fumble. So
Yeah, I
um,
remember I remember watching that game. But yeah, I mean he just it's weird that he hasn't translated the NFL as well because he's
right,
such like an
right.
athletic freak.
He was kind of a man amongst boys in college.
Yeah,
Yeah, he whooped our butt pretty good
yeah,
in the Big Ten championship there.
yeah. And then just like you always talked about like how like you had to game plan for him and stuff. Like I was wondering as a fullback, like do you work more with like the running backs or like do you work a lot with some O line drills? Like what's a practice day look like for you?
Practice day would have me starting with the running backs. So I would call the running back position like my home group.
Yeah,
So I'd watch film with them. I'd do workouts, all that kind of stuff with them. My practice would be they'd be my position group. But you'd still see me going to the tight ends, to learn pass pro and maybe some routes, and then you'd see me go to the O line to learn blocking.
yeah,
And simulate offense. So I'd say probably spend running back and tight end because in reality that's what a fullback is, right? It's
yeah,
it's an it's a mix of an O lineman, a tight end, and a running back when it
yeah,
comes down to it. Um,
yeah.
but oh yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely cool to see fullbacks kind of coming back in the NFL a little bit. But also, yeah, so obviously you grew
yeah,
up in
it's
wait, what'd you say?
I think we're on the delay a little bit. Yeah, no, it's definitely a position that's not for everyone. So,
Yeah. Hmm.
but
Um,
what were you saying?
oh, wait, what'd you say? You go.
What were you saying? I said, yeah.
I was asking, so like, so you're obviously from Grantsburg, Wisconsin, right? You played high school there. And I
Mhm.
was wondering, so like, you're obviously super close to Minnesota. Have you been like Wisconsin, like Packer? Like have you been a Badger like all along?
Yeah, I would say. Grantsburg's really interesting because 5 minutes from Minnesota, like literally 5 minutes
Yeah.
from Minnesota. And so it's a 50-50 split in town who's, Gophers and Vikings versus Badgers and Packers. So that's always a fun part of it. And the Gophers recruited Leo and I early on. And so we went to their camp, busted some heads and uh met PJ Fleck and they got, row the boat, row the boat.
Yeah.
I never really bought into it.
Yeah.
But no, they got a decent program there, and they've won the X a couple times, so that's pretty
Yeah.
sad, pretty sad to see.
Yeah, we gotta get back. But yeah, no, as a Badger fan, I just hate PJ Fleck. I don't just something about him, I just don't like it. But
But
um
somewhat leading out the team with his head shining in the horizon. They just stop. Like,
and I hate like
uh,
the tie and like the weight just for the games. It just bothers me. I don't know why, but
yeah, the whole Sky U Ma thing really
yeah.
threw me out.
Yeah.
Not a
But
fan.
yeah. Obviously, so yeah, so I saw that you came to Wisconsin as a PWO, right? I think that's what I saw.
Yep.
Um, and I was wondering, like, what did like the recruiting process like? What was it like for you? But yeah,
So Leo and I never really even like thought about playing D1. We were like, we're not gonna make it. That's just a whole nother level. There's no chance, right? So and I'll go back before that and say that we went to a school. I graduated with 59,
hmm.
so Leo had even less. He had like 48 in his class. So you're talking a town with a population of 1,300. Recruiting becomes very difficult, and it puts a lot of the pressure on you. You have to actively seek, and your high school coach, you have to actively seek colleges, seek them out, attend camps. You have to be way more attuned with it, and really, I'd say my experience started probably my junior year. Like before that, I wasn't even trying to get exposure and all this stuff. So I was already late to the game as it was. And that summer of my junior year, Leo and I, we went to camps. We went to Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin full pad camps. And that was like in a 4 or 5 day span, which is a grinder.
Yeah,
Um, but we went to those camps, and let's see, we did pretty well at all three of them. But came out of it thinking, still there's no chance. I'm not at that level yet, and we attended a combine in Sussex Hamilton,
hmm.
Wisconsin. It's kind of by Green Bay, but so we went to a combine there, and we balled out there a little bit with our numbers, and so from there, coach from University of North Dakota reached out to me, and he said, "Hey, this is what we saw your film. This is what we want to offer you." And so they offered me like I don't know, FCS can do things differently. Like they can do like 3/4 scholarships and
Oh, okay.
um, things like that. So like they can offer a half ride or a 3/4 ride or a full ride. And so I think I got a half or a 3/4 ride to UND, and I'm like, okay, school paid for. This is only really D1 I have. So and I ended up committing there. So I was actually going to be, I think they're Fighting Hawks. I was actually going to be a Fighting Hawk for first.
Yeah.
So that lasted a few months until I'd say our high school basketball season. They gave Leo and I a call both at the same time, and they mentioned we're late to the party for you, John. So I mean, we don't have any scholarship slots left, right? Because they have a certain amount they can give out every class,
Yeah.
and so they said we want to offer you a preferred walk on, and I'm like, still preferred walk on from Wisconsin. I mean, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah.
And Leo, they're like, oh, Leo, we'll give you a full ride. I'm like, oh. I was like, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's held that over me a little bit, but um, Wisconsin was unique at the time in how their walk-on culture was. If I don't know how familiar you are, but
Yeah.
uh,
But the whole like Jim Leonard, obviously, then JJ, like
well,
walk-ons
yeah,
have a chance.
well, and they give the walk-ons like equal platform to perform and to have all the same the same access to all the team resources as
Mhm.
it's not that way around the country for walk-ons. So
Yeah.
I was really fortunate to walk on at Wisconsin who does those things. And I went to my special teams coach the first month of camp, and I was like, Coach, what can I do? I need to get a scholarship. And he just said, we'll work you out on special teams,
Yeah.
which is the classic fullback, right? Uh, so I worked all 4 phases, and I burned my red shirt. I didn't end up using my red shirt. I was on 3 phases, I think, of special teams, and then I got on scholarship after the first semester.
First, yeah, that's obviously a huge accomplishment. Like, and I was just like, who was like probably like the lead recruiter when they were recruiting you? Like, who
Chris
came
Herring.
in? What was
So
it?
Chris Herring. So
Sorry.
he's the special teams coordinator.
Yeah.
Him and I had a pretty good relationship, and Coach Christ, them two came to our school a couple times, and we went to, out to dinner, stuff like that. But yeah, Chris Herring, and he's a great guy. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Would he say he was probably like your favorite coach when you were at Wisconsin?
I see. I went through it, with coaches moving all the time in
Yeah.
college. Go through it for sure. As far as my overall time in Wisconsin, Chris Herring is by far my favorite.
Mm.
Um, but I think deep down, I think um, yeah, there's been I can't even put a name on. There's been a couple that I really appreciate that have left.
Yeah. Other than that, so my friend who I do this with, woke up and he's like a strep throat, I think. So he couldn't hop on, but he found that you had a game winning shot against Cumberland when you were in high school. Like, so you
Yeah,
were obviously you were like a dual sport athlete.
yeah.
And was it always football or like did you was there ever a time where like you enjoyed other sports more?
For sure. Yeah. So I ran track too. I did the shot and the high jump as well.
Mm.
I for sure I think basketball is something that if you really get into it you can really enjoy.
Yeah.
Football becomes more of a grind and more in the trenches and more just like grinding it out. And basketball, it's fun. It seems more like a kid's game, I would say.
Yeah. Mm.
Um, so football became more work. Um, as you progress, from high school to college, it becomes like big business, right? You have NIL, the NCAA. There's a lot of money going to it, and it's a lot of pressure on a lot of people. And so the coaches have a job to do. If they don't get it done, they're gonna move on. The university's gonna let them go. If we don't do our job or if we make mistakes, we're gonna get cut. So I think that pressure kind of took some of the fun out of it.
Yeah.
Uh, but deep down, you always still have the love of the game.
Yeah, that's understandable. But so obviously growing up with your brother Leo, what was it like growing up and like obviously I'm assuming you were like on the same teams multiple times. Like, what was it like competing with each other? And like, do you think it helped you get a lot better and become like a D1 athlete?
Oh, I 100%. I don't know if you have a brother or siblings or anything, but it really introduces another level of competition.
Yeah.
You're working out or running or working on some technique, and you look over and you say, "Oh, this guy thinks he's gonna beat me." No, no, and this puny little guy thinks he's gonna beat. No, so it introduced another level of competition.
Oh,
Um, but not only that, it's something not a lot of people get to experience is playing high level with their sibling, and it's it's great bonding, and some of the best time in my life for sure.
yeah. Yeah. I have a twin sister, so I don't really get to experience that, but I always wish I was able to.
So
Um,
you were competing in the womb a little bit.
yeah, yeah. Um, So, other than that, like, what was like? So obviously your brother Leo's in the NFL now, but like, I noticed that you went through mini camps. Like, what does an NFL camp look like? Like, and how was it?
So basic schedule would we get there, we get registration. Um, they get you any gear you need, helmets or shoulder pads. You sign in, you get to the hotel, and then they just lop this playbook like that thick, like literally this thick, and they lop it on your thing. And so you get there like 6 p.m. You're studying till like midnight because camp is full go the next day.
Yeah,
So you get in there and try to learn as much as you can in the time, and that's looking at the playbook and memorizing it. You don't have armbands, you don't have anything. They're just calling a play in the huddle, and you're going
yeah,
into a foreign scheme.
mm,
So that's where you can really separate yourselves. Yourself is not making any mistakes.
yeah,
They call them MEs, mental errors. So
mm,
that's where you can really separate yourself if there's a guy who's not making mistakes compared to a guy who's what was that, what did I do, you know
yeah,
but a typical camp would look like you get there, get your playbook. Okay, the next morning we go out and we have 4-hour practice. active stretch, position drills, 1-on-1, 7-on-7s. Um, I'd say it's a lot more individual competitions rather than team stuff. Because obviously, you bring a bunch of guys in there that aren't familiar with each other, not going to mesh very well in the group setting. So a lot of one-on-ones. After that, the coaches can pluck you out and go in for meetings or interviews or what have you. And so but they will run you there. They're going to make sure your conditioning is on point. I think so. New Orleans, obviously, it was like 90 degrees too, and we had pads and helmet on. But
Yeah.
New Orleans, I remember walking in and I stepped on the scale. I was like, okay, because they had us weigh in and out before to see how much we were losing. And
Wow.
I was like, stepped on the scale. I'm like, all right, 253, I think I was.
2 3, yeah.
And then after practice, I was like, oh, that was a grinder, huh? I stepped on the scale. I'm 240. I'm like, oh,
213 pounds.
I lost 13 pounds from one
Yeah.
one practice.
God, that's insane. Yeah.
So they're definitely gonna make sure you're in shape. And it is a grind, and it's nerve wracking. But yeah, mini camps are one of those things I look back on, and I don't have a lot of regrets. I think I did the best I possibly could have in
Mhm.
those two. So I went to the Jets and the Saints, and I don't really have any regrets for them. I learned the playbooks pretty well, and um, it's just definitely a very competitive field for fullbacks right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's only what, probably like third half of teams that even use fullbacks.
Yeah, and some of them are just tight ends they bring in too.
Yeah,
So
pretty much. Yeah.
as far as set fullbacks, I mean, there's like a handful.
Yeah. So obviously, like I said before, like you grew up so close to Minnesota. What was like the Axe game like at the end of the year? Like, was it obvious? I mean, obviously, it was super competitive. Well, I mean, yeah, it was super competitive for the most part, maybe some years. But what was it like in the week of preparation? Like, was it super like I don't know how to word it, but it was obviously a huge game. And it's like, how'd you feel?
I in my mind, it was a bigger game for them than it was for us.
Yeah,
I always said that. Obviously, we want to keep the Axe, and um, rather than filling you with nerves and anxiety, like, oh, we got to win. It's more of like, this is expected, right? This is expected of us. When I got there, we had won like 18 out of the last 20 or something, 18 of the last 19 games against them. And so it wasn't, you know, you could call it a rivalry for sure because
yeah,
of how the recent years have been. But when I got there, it wasn't as much. The axe was still huge. When we, after the game, Leo and I held that axe between us. I mean, it's a great feeling. And cutting down the goalpost, it's a great feeling.
yeah.
It was just, but when I got there, it was just, another game. We got another tough opponent,
Mhm.
with a bald coach.
Yeah. Um, let's see. Yeah. So, well, first of all, I also got for Christmas, I got a mini axe. I got it right over here. But
Oh yeah.
um, that was yeah, that game's been a little more competitive last couple of years with them winning. But yeah, also that 2019 game, I think it was when they had I think they had Rashad Bateman, Tanner Morgan. Like obviously that was like the game where everybody thought Minnesota would finally take it over. Then
hmm
obviously that was a huge win for you guys. And like how'd you feel after that win? Because that was obviously two high
You know,
ranked teams.
so yeah, so freshman year, because I think that was my freshman year, right? Yeah, I think it was, yeah.
Yeah.
I was playing primarily special teams, and so it was a little bit harder to get fully immersed in like I'm directly contributing. But still exciting, man. You get to that locker room after if we chop down the post, it's the adrenaline's just pumping, everyone's going nuts. It's a good time. Those rivalry games are super enjoyable to be part of.
Yeah, yeah. Understandable. So, um, oh, yeah, I have one more question. So, I was wondering, like, what was life like after? What was it like adjusting to life after football? Obviously, I think I saw you got married before you stopped playing,
hmm
and obviously you had a family at that point. But like, was it hard to adjust like day to day without playing football and all that?
Um, well, I'm not gonna lie to you and say it was easy.
Yeah.
It's something that a lot of college athletes and some professional athletes maybe aren't going to understand until it happens. But going into the real world, you'd really take it for granted the things we were given in college.
Mm.
We had a laundry loop, we had a buffet line of food every morning, we had massages, you have all these things for you to make your life easier and to build you into a better athlete. That gets taken away and it goes and you sit there thinking, oh man, I should have really taken advantage of everything I could have. And it's one of those things, you know, that that really make you appreciate the experiences you had. Um, but in that same way, the skill sets you developed in that sport will kind of set you up. Showing up on time, being punctual, being able to work as a team. A lot of those things translate really well to the work world. And so I get out in the professional life, and a lot of these companies are looking for former athletes,
Yeah.
just because they can expect, okay, they started something and they finished something. They have enough to fight through adversity, problem solve. So I think it really gives you great tools, but it is still very much a challenge to adjust.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Then I think that's pretty much all I have for you, Jay. But yeah, thanks for coming on, man. Like, I'm super appreciative.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. Thank you. Maybe we'll get Leo on here one day soon.
Hopefully, I got my mini signed helmet of Leo
Oh
over
yeah,
there. Yeah.
oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's hopefully you can sign a contract, get back with the Chiefs here.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be surprised if they let him go. I mean, he's been a productive player and really good. So
Yeah, he's been a beefcake running around out there, man.
yeah, yeah. I love the way that they use him kind of like I was seeing like the Spags use him kind of like as a QB spy because he's so athletic and like they
Yeah,
use him, yeah, because
they
I don't
they
know.
they use him a little bit outside of a lot of pass cover. They use him a lot as like a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, that's what I
Put
like
him in the
about
middle, put him on the side. They just like, let's put this big back right in the middle so no one can get through.
it.
Oh yeah, no, but yeah, thanks again, man. That this is a cool thing you're doing, and I'm happy to be part of it.
Yeah, thank you so much, man.
Yep.